The Attorney General, Gloria Kufo, is urging the Supreme Court to dismiss the case challenging the construction of the National Cathedral. She has described the court action as a misunderstanding of the character of Ghanaian secularism. Acting General Secretary of the Convention People's Party, James Kwamina Bonfe, is in court seeking to stop government from providing seed money and land for the edifice. But the Attorney General, however, says a country that has for years observed principal religious celebrations as public holidays could not be said to be one that does not recognize the existence of a supreme being or God. I'll bring you all the update from the court right here.
The 60-page document signed by Deputy AG Godfred Yeboah-Dame presents the case of government in support of the push to provide seed money and land for the construction of the edifice. An initial objection is first raised about whether there is an issue to be addressed by the court. The AG argues there is no issue of interpretation that the court must be concerned with. She further advises lawyers for the CPP General Secretary to head to the High Court if they want some provisions in the Constitution to be applied. On whether government can support religious bodies since the country is a secular state, the AG says Ghana's Pledge of Allegiance and anthem invokes the name of God aside from the fact that the nation observes religious celebrations as public holidays. She concludes that Ghana cannot be said to subscribe to a vision of secularism that does not permit the government to make reasonable accommodation for religion. Government support for Muslims who embark on Hajj has become an issue of contention since this issue came up. The AG maintains the state has not engaged in acts that should lead to a conclusion of undue or excessive entanglement with religion. The AG further states that it will be a fallacy to conclude that Ghana is a state which does not believe in the supreme being or God. She quotes the preamble of the 1992 Constitution that reads, quote, "In the name of the Almighty God, we, the people of Ghana," unquote. The AG wants the case to be dismissed. Hearing continues on November 21.
Government is set to roll out plans to ensure that only persons with postgraduate doctoral degrees and a certificate in education will qualify to teach in all public universities. Well, as it stands, the qualifications you need to lecture in a university are a good bachelor's degree, possibly a master's, and for almost all disciplines, a PhD in the relevant field. However, speaking at the Meet the Press series on Tuesday, the Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, also announced that a PhD plus a certificate in education would now be required. Nancy Emefajiradosi was at the press conference and brings us the minister's words.
Addressing journalists at the Information Ministry, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh reiterated government's commitment to promote quality education. This, he says, includes quite a number of reforms.
From next year, or from this year, these colleges would apply. Students wanting to go to these colleges will apply through their universities to go into those training colleges. They become university colleges of education. And when you finish, your degree will bear the name of University of Ghana and not any other university. It is also to help the university develop the capacity of teachers within the colleges of education.
He adds, anyone seeking to get enrolled into the College of Education will also be required to apply through the college's affiliate university to obtain a degree and no more a diploma.
Now, if you don't hold a PhD, a very soon PhD plus certificate in education, you will not be able to teach in the university. Very soon, everybody who wants to teach in this country should at least have a degree. It has consequences on the national budget because you employ degree holders, you employ them on a higher scale than you employ a diploma. But that is not what government is thinking. Government is thinking that learning outcomes is more important than the budgets that we are pinching.
On the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, sitters strike over issues with their market premium and book research allowance, and which has kept the teachers out of the classroom since October 29, Dr. Opoku-Prempeh says government is still in negotiations with the association.
We can't say, no, we support them. If government has said you have upgraded them, pay them. Yeah, we'll go through the systems and pay them. But we are asking them to sit down and negotiate with fair wages and salaries. Because though they are tertiary, they are not university. So we would continue to engage CTAC till we come to the resolution of that.
He also announced the Ghana Institute of Journalism, Ghana Institute of Languages, and the National Film and Television Institute, NAFTI, will soon be consolidated into one fully fledged university.
Before the advent of Martin Prepe in the Ministry of Education, these institutions all wanted to be universities. In fact, my handing over notes is in. In fact, the current government took it through another stakeholder meeting chaired by Professor Yanka. And in fact, none of them qualified to be a university. The other thing is that they all get award degrees from University of Ghana or one other university. And we felt we've taken the position that the three can be three schools in a university and they award their own degrees.
Dr. Prempe also announced that trainee teachers have agreed to undergo the mandatory national service, which they earlier kicked against. Nancy MFA Jadosi, Joy News.
In other news, the Minister for Gender, Cynthia Morrison, says children raised with a strict parenting style tend to be more angry and rebellious as teenagers and young adults. She said this when she interacted with some school children from selected basic schools in the capital. Issues such as child marriage, child begging, and female genital mutilation were raised by these young people. Ifo Evans Chinri has more.
As we mark Universal Children's Day today, some children from some selected schools here in Accra have been interacting with the gender minister on issues such as female genital mutilation, child begging, and some other issues that affect children. I have with me here some of the children to interact with them, find out what their concerns are, what they want to be done for them as children.
What I have for the parents is that they should provide what their children need, so that anything that is wrong with their children, they will go and tell their parents, so that when their parents take care of their children, they will be responsible people in future.
Are you being provided with what you need?
Yes.
So you get everything that you want from your parents?
Yes.
But what really are your concerns as a child, apart from, asking parents to provide for their children? What are your concerns? What are other concerns?
My concern is that every child has the right to education. So why is it that I see my friends on the road begging for money? So I want to ask the government that they should let children go to school so that they will stop begging on the streets.
So your other concern is child begging. You want parents to take their children to school so we don't see children begging on the street.
I want to talk that female genital mutilation is harmful to the girls practicing it. So I want to tell parents that especially in the northern part, that they should stop practicing it because some of the girls bleed to death, and so that they can send them to school, they should stop practicing it. That is what I want to tell.
Do you know anybody who've experienced that?
No, but I've been hearing it.
You've been hearing about it. You've seen videos of it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what other concerns do you have?
Some of the children, they are staying with their guardian and they are not sent to school. So, madam, please, I want to tell that they are to send to school. Some people work for their guardian so that they can get at least some money. So, madam, I'm begging that they should send the children to school so that they can have some aim, or when they grow up, them too, they can talk to their little children.
So good education is what you're asking for all children in Ghana. Thank you very much. Some of these children pose questions on parents' refusal to listen to their kids, with others demanding to know why some guardians leave them to fend for themselves. The gender minister, Cynthia Morrison, on her part, cautioned children against sexual advances from men and focus on the education. She also advised parents to be tactful in disciplining their children.
I think it is very important to listen to the child, because some children can't talk to their parents because they're afraid. But today, on a neutral ground, they've told us about child labor. It's so bad. They see their friends on the streets begging, and they think that we should take them out And it is something that is on my heart already, to make sure that we give them a good home. You know, some of them can even be up for, you know, get foster parents to take care of them, or even for adoption. So we are thinking of what to do. There are all legal implications to it. So we want to do the right thing and make sure that these children are out of the streets. They talked about female genital mutilation. I haven't seen one. I've seen just the pictures of it. My next trip is in the north. When we go, we are going to have meetings with them. Go to see them. We appeal to them passionately. We can't force them, because when we finish, we are done talking to them, we'll come down here. So we are going to appeal to them, try and convince them why they should stop that practice, and also the girl marriage thing. You know, it is so bad. You are looking at a 13-year-old girl carrying a baby. It's so painful. It's so sad. And when you have one-on-one conversation with them, they are afraid. They don't want the marriage, but they are afraid. I don't know what they tell them. So when we go there, we are going to talk to especially the fathers. They have the authority. I've already spoken to some chiefs, and they've given me their consent that they will help. So we'll find a way. It will not end today, but at least we would progress somewhere.
This year, as an initiative by UNICEF, the world is going blue in support of all children as they take over.
Well, and all that interaction was to mark World Children's Day. But let's move on. 40 million. And that's the number of women and girls around the world who cannot afford sanitary products during menstruation. And this according to a Borgen Project report. 16-year-old Makeri Seidi, porter at Newtown here in Accra, is one of such girls experiencing period poverty, earning barely enough to feed or clothe herself. Seidu tells JoyNews for Senasafo she is sometimes forced to beg for alms during menstruation to buy just sanitary pads.
17-year-old Makeri Seidu migrated more than 600 kilometers from the northern region of Ghana to Accra in search of greener pastures. She just completed junior high school and was hoping to make some money to further her education. But upon arrival, reality dealt her a big blow. Life in the city was tougher than she ever imagined.
We came here, we are not getting money. Even a day, you can just walk and you will not even get even 1 cedi to go and bath. Sometimes even the money that you even get and buy pure water and drink is a problem for us.
Seidu has no roof over her head. At night, the cold bare floor becomes her bed. As a head porter, she barely makes enough money to feed. During menstruation, Seidu is forced to beg for alms to buy sanitary products. She tells me there are days when she's had to use toilet rolls and worn-out clothes as pad.
It may be that you get your menstruation, you won't get money and buy pad. Me, like example, I always use 3 pad a month. If you are going to buy pad 3 and you are not getting money, the money that you use to even buy food is a problem. How can you buy pad and use?
Gynecologists advise a change of pad at least 3 to 4 hours, depending on how heavy or light a lady's flow is, to avoid bacterial infections. But this is a luxury Seidu cannot afford. On days when she's unable to make enough money assisting buyers and traders carry their goods, Seidu tells me she has to forfeit baton and use the same pad for 48 hours, a situation she described as unpleasant.
At our hometowns, when you get your menstruation, you can even bath 3 times, 4 times, but here, because of money, we always bath 2 times. Sometimes, some of us, we cannot even get money and go and even bath 1. And you are in your menstruation period. How will you do? You will be smelling.
To find out just how much some of these sanitary products cost, I visited the Malamata market here in Accra. This provision shop attendant tells me some sanitary pads cost as low as 3 cedis, some 5 cedis, and others as much as 12 cedis.
Mostly is the Yas pad that people buy. It's hardly to see people buying the always pad and then the other pad that is ahead because of the prices. So people want to cut down costs.
Benis Ankra owns Sankofa, a non-governmental organization that aims to tackle period poverty in Ghana. She's been distributing free reusable sanitary pads and other products to girls in deprived communities and schools. The reusable pad made right here in Ghana can last for 3 to 4 years if properly maintained.
One of the worst cases I heard is a girl at Tema and a Cropon. That's a girl, because of sanitary pad, a girl go and have a sex with a man to get money to buy a pad, just 5 cedi.
Benny suggests government subsidize the cost of sanitary products to reduce the financial burden on women and girls. She strongly believes period poverty can't be eliminated in the country if government supports NGOs such as hers.
We want government to come in to buy our idea, to help us to reach many girls as we can.
Until government intervention, girls like Seidu would have to rely on the benevolence of NGOs such as Sankofa Initiative, or opt for the cheaper and sometimes unhygienic alternatives during menstruation. For JoyNews, Faustina Safu.
And before we go, let's take you to the Ashanti region, and it's where about 25 houses which have become death traps have been earmarked for demolition at Konongo Domase. The National Disaster Management Organization says Galamsey operators have rendered them weak and uninhabitable. Owners of these affected structures are, however, assured of relief supplies and some compensation. Nana Sensu-Mensah reports.
Gaping cracks in the walls and floors are enough signal of looming danger. Most of the houses penciled for pull down stand in waterways. Integrity assessment test has already been undertaken on the buildings by NADMO. Here is Municipal Engineer Lawrence Yeboah.
Actually, the incident happened when there was a heavy rain, and you see the water coming downstream to the upstream was very heavy, to the extent that the bridge was not able to carry the water. So the shoulders of the bridge got broke, and the water has submerged the whole place. And what's supposed to be done is we have to redivert the river to see the actual happen on the grounds, so that we can assess the situation and give a remedy to it. Actually, until we made the necessary tests and see what actually caused it, this is a preliminary stage, so we can't confirm on that until we finish our necessary report that or survey that we have to do.
Regional NADMO Director Kwabinan Senchire admonishes residents to cooperate with authorities to avert disaster.
Today, and I think you have seen yourself the cracks. Even if you look at the ground, there's an even crack on the grounds. It shows that there's a disaster looming. So we don't need to, waste our time. That is why we are here today, and we organized a community meeting down there with the assembly members, and we have informed them that they should look up for a safe haven. What I mean is that we are going to provide mattresses. If we're able to know the number of the victims, we are going to provide mattresses, blankets, and some relief items to them, so that they will give us the opportunity to pull all this building down. Because as an NADMO, we are into more preventive than disaster to occur.
Nana Sensu-Mensah reporting.
Well, we hope that they get the relief supplies and the compensation that is needed as the buildings are pulled down. But in the meantime, we're not pulling anything down. Today is another Wednesday, so we'll bring you the latest reports on AM business. But do remember, we have a great conversation with Ian Walker. Ian Walker is the High Commissioner for Britain to Ghana, and we're having some great conversation around the visits of Prince Charles and the wife, as well as how we can strengthen relationship between both countries. Please stay with us. We have more news, so we'll be reviewing the newspapers, and look at myjournline.com. Stay with us.